Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another review. This time is the Mezco 112 Collective DARKSEID. So, and everybody's anticipating this, everyone's this and that, everyone has their own views. That's cool and dandy. I like the figure and that's all that matters to me. What matters to you is what happens at the end of this review. But anyway, let's get started. First and foremost, gotta start by saying it's cold casted, it has polystone, it's actually really cool and it has a ton of weight to it. Seems also to be pretty sturdy. I don't know, you can see it. But also, I'm scared to drop it. So obviously I'm not going to do a drop test. That's crazy. Pay too much money for that. But anyway, gotta say the look and the feel of this DARKSEID is absolutely wonderful. I mean, the feel is there. The look is definitely there of classic DARKSEID, especially done by Kirby. So you know you have the look. Now in terms of articulation, we're not going to get that. So if you have Hulk, you kind of already know what you're getting in this case. But I'm going to show you guys. Anyway, first things first, I want to go over the light up feature. Normally it would be articulation, but I want to go over the light up feature because I think it's really cool. And I want to actually display that throughout the review. So to do that, what you're going to do is you're going to pop the head out and up. So you're going to go a little bit out and then up. As you can see here, it's magnets that hold it together, which is pretty cool. The eyes, you see the little red light there. After you put the batteries in, which is behind here, so you unscrew it, it actually does come with batteries, which is really cool. So I don't have to worry about buying any or trying to find the right ones. What you do is there's a little switch. You can turn from left to right. As you can see, LEDs are right there. We're going to pop this back on and in. Make sure that's right. Oop, a little wrong. Hold on. Let me just fix that. There we go. And now we have light up eyes. Now this by far to me is one of the funnest and like the best feature about it. And it looks great on him. And now I feel like you can absolutely say this figure has the perfect look. I mean, without question, I think it has the perfect look for DARKSEID. So I'm with it. But now in terms of articulation, this is where it falters. After you've paid $180, you already know that you want a figure that can be crazy. Only issue is DARKSEID has never really done much to do that. And I'm not defending it, really not. I would want the most, especially after paying $180. But considering I read a ton of comics, I know for a fact that DARKSEID has stood up and done nothing in more pages of comics than he's done anything anywhere, anyplace else before his new 52 design. But anyway, let's get into articulation. The arm can actually lift up very easy. It holds weight very well. I was testing out some stuff where it actually can lift other figures with no problem. It can rotate all the way around. And the only thing that's actually getting in the way are this die-cast silver parts on the shoulder. But otherwise, it can rotate all the way around. There's no bicep swivel, so you're not going to get that. But you do get a lower forearm swivel, which is pretty nice. And you get a little bit of rotation out of the ball joint. The ball joints are actually so very big that they help hold up the weight. So, with that being said, you want to do the patented arms behind the back thing. You can do it, but it won't look as flush. And like I said, if these were not in the way, you would actually be able to look at it and do it a little bit more flush going back. But the way it is now, this is as far as you're going to get. And that's fine. You know what I mean? I think it's fine. But personally, if you want to disagree for the money that you paid, I totally would understand. But you can still get the pose. It's going to look good in photos. It's going to look good standing there. And that's obviously what's going to matter to a ton of people. As far as the ab crunch and ab articulation, after I rotate the arms up, as you can see here, he can rotate left and right. He has a forward crunch, but not crazy forward. To be honest, I can't get under the cloth. But actually, yeah, we can. But you can't get up high enough to see what's going on. But it will show you that you do get a nice bit of thigh swivel. Actually, you have an excellent amount of thigh swivel. The legs are actually pretty long, but the boots are so big that they cover up above the knee. And the legs aren't short. They're actually the perfect height. So what you can do is you actually rotate, and you can actually get pretty high up. You can't rotate going forward and going up, but you can rotate out and actually have him cross his knees. So as far as actually sitting, actually I may be wrong. Technically he can sit. So if you cross a leg, you can actually technically sit this guy. Actually, it would look funny because his skirt would be up, but technically you can actually sit this guy down. I didn't think about that till now, but technically he can sit down. And because it's cold casted, he's actually keeping a lot of his articulation without any issues. So the upper body is actually pretty good. So yeah, you don't get the best articulation, but for DARKSEID, for a guy who stood there for so long, I don't think that's really going to be an issue. So the legs can actually rotate. You can actually bend the legs pretty far to about a 90-degree angle without an issue. Like I said, lifting up the skirt is really going to be an issue, and rotating out. So if you want to actually get some decent poses, what you're going to do is probably rotate down and around. So let's see if I can actually get some decent poses. Let me rotate this up, out, because they can actually go out. This is actually going to take a little bit of finagling. Like I said, you know, you can do something, right? So in terms of looking the best with articulation, the answer is no. It's not going to look that well. So very limited, and I'm going to say no to articulation. Can you finagle some stuff? Probably, but it's not going to be going worth the crazy amount of articulation. Now, in terms of the legs, like I said, you can rotate. You actually can rotate the foot really well as well. These actually die cast as well. Nice and heavy. Keep the feet weighed out. And you actually had a pretty decent amount of ankle pivot, which is great, especially for those who want to try to mod it. I am scared to do it, so it's not going to be me. But if you are brave enough soul to do that, I welcome it. The head art probably has the most articulation in the neck. As you can see, you can rotate all the way around here with no issue because the LED is in the head, just like it was for the Armored Batman. So now we're going to stand him straight up, doing his cool thing. We're going to look cool with the arms behind the back. And we're going to go over the accessories that DARKSEID comes with. Damn, this just looks good. First up, I want to talk about his mother box. Now, the mother box is cool. Obviously, it doesn't do much, but it looks really good. And it's fabulous. And the gimmick for this is that, should you actually buy this figure, voila, it's magnetized. And I know that's not a lot for some people, but I think that's a really cool gimmick that some people just don't, stick with. So you actually leave that back there and it wouldn't be a problem. It just sits back there very nicely. It does not magnetize at the front though. That's not what the magnet is. It's on the back. So just keep that in mind. Next up, I'm going to go over the hands, which is not a lot, but it's enough to be cool things. So if you want to hold your mother box, there is one right hand for it as he holds it. So there's one designated right hand to hold that. The rest up, you're going to have open palms, which is just two more open palms. Again, when he's finally going to grab his enemies, hold them up, do whatever it is he's going to do, this is what you have, right? So that's it as far as hands. Next up, we actually get three really nice face sculpts. Outside of the regular stoic one, we get a smiling head, which is actually really, really cool. If you are reading anything from Rebirth, this actually looks like Damage's face a little bit. So I think this is really dope for a sculpt. I think it's done really, really well. And as you can see under light, it looks even better. Next up, you have the really, really cool Damaged head, which is absolutely wonderful. And honestly, I'm going to switch this out because I want to show you guys how good it looks under lighting. So as you can see here, if I turn out my lights, this would look absolutely wonderful with no lighting. Because as you can see, the LEDs go through the cracks here. It looks really cool, like molten lava is running through his face. And last but not least, I want to show you the face sculpt that has the Omega beams, which is actually done wonderful. And again, runs through the LEDs very, very well. So I think that what you get in terms of accessories that he comes with is really accurate and really great. But again, to be cold casted, to be smaller, have no articulation, it's going to bum out a lot of collectors on the end who aim for articulation and style with their stuff, as opposed to static collectors who are going to be very, very happy with this piece. So you guys are going to be wildly divided amongst this, and that's totally fine. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. But for those of you who are okay with static figures, this is going to be great. It's also not going to be so great for those who prefer articulation. For those in the middle, you have to pick a side and decide what's going to be worth it for you guys. And that's just the end of the ordeal with that. All in all, I'm really enjoying the piece, especially because I know DARKSEID doesn't do much. So if you want the thematic end of the world apocalypse shots, I think you can really aim for it and get this with this figure. If you just want to sit it on a shelf, guess what? Absolutely perfect. You can even switch it up because if you want to call it a statue, you already know what you pay for with crazy prices with statues. You have a great piece with option parts, if you want to look at it in this optimistic way. So there is that. Real quick though, I'm going to put on his smiling face while we finish up this review with some size comparisons, which is going to be super dope. So I'm going to leave you here. Actually, let me move you back so you can see what you look like next to things. I'm going to start off with larger figures, And the first thing I want to do is compare it to the Mezco Hulk. So as you can see, size-wise, he's actually smaller, but he actually weighs a ton more than the Hulk. So that's that. Then we're going to compare him to the SHF Hulk. And size-wise, as you can see, even though he's smaller, it looks like he can run it with the Hulk. Probably can give the Hulk hands if he really felt like it. He's a lot of, anti-life. So that's that. Next up, we're going to compare it to a Mezco Superman. And I'm not going to do it with the Mayfix Superman because that's the movie stuff. I want to kind of just get him in there with the Mezco one. So here we go. I had to fix him up a bit. So next to normal Superman, I think this is actually just fine. I think this is regular animated series, perfect scaling without an issue. Superman is Superman's perfect height. Darkseid is his height. If you want to look at these guys, how they look at next to each other, I think this is the perfect square up moment. So I'm really looking forward to photo shoots with them too. Next up, we're going to compare it to a DC Icons. Because, you know what? I think DC Icons actually runs a little bit smaller, closer to SHF. But I think it works really well with the John Stewart. So I figured I'd use him as an example. Really cool. Next up, we have a normal SH Figuarts, Kamen Rider Shin Zangetsu. So as you can see here, Darkseid still towers over these guys, but it still looks really good in terms of scale. Oh, crap. You know what? Before I even forget, I totally forgot about this. Darkseid's cape. I had it on the side, and I totally forgot about it. But let's actually talk about this since we're talking about it in between stuff. So Darkseid actually comes with a really cool cape. So now not only is that, he's like a really cool emperor. Now the thing about this is actually, you can actually have it rotate around and stand like this. I don't know why I totally forgot about this. It was off to the side. So you can actually have him stand like this, which is cool. Or you can have it like previously before, where it tucks over and it could be a little bit behind him. Still fits on the shoulders very well. Also made a die cast or cold stone or cold cast it. Oh, actually, it's really cold. So it's probably either die cast or cold cast it. But it does look very good with him. And it keeps all his other accessories. So while I forgot about that, I'm so sorry. Next up, we're going to compare it to a Marvel Legend. So here he is next to a Marvel Legends Cletus with a Sculptor Shelf custom head. Next up, Mythic Legions Orc. This is really cool. So, not to say that he's like really, really small, but I think he's actually the perfect comic book height, the way he should be. Here he is with an articulated Icons Ninja and a 1000 toy synthetic human, which, probably could work on Apocalypse. Last but not least, I want to compare him to a Astrobot Apollo. Show you that Apollo's actually smaller than him, but still a really good height. They would look good actually fighting each other. Maybe I'll do a couple shots of that. All in all, I actually love the piece, but then again, I've loved waiting for a perfect Darkseid for a very long time. If you prefer the new 52 one, which has a very much larger scale and more articulation, I think that's great. But if you want a classic, Silver Age Darkseid with a little bit of modernization to it, this would actually be the perfect piece for you. Because I don't think you're going to find one anywhere else in this point in time, especially with the features that it comes with. All in all, it's on for you to guys decide. I like the piece. But anyway, that's enough of that. In the meantime, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found it informative. And most of all, hope you do good, be good. Drink your water, guys. Later.